Well, 105 years ago, a crucial meeting shaped the destiny of the Middle East. World leaders gathered in San Remo, Italy, to decide the future of the region after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. They also laid out the legal foundation for the modern state of Israel. Chris Mitchell has that story.
I'm here in San Remo, Italy, at the very spot where world leaders redrew the map of the Middle East. It hosted the San Remo Conference of 1920, a little-known meeting that shaped the destiny of nations in the modern Middle East. While the guns of World War I had fallen silent, battles over borders and sovereignty were only beginning. The 400-year-old Ottoman Empire, called the sick man of Europe, was crumbling. The Allied powers of France, the United Kingdom, Italy, and Japan, with the United States as an observer, now face the issue of dividing the vast territories of Iraq, Syria, and the land called Palestine. San Remo served as the stage for those decisions to be made.
This is during the course of 1 week, and especially then the last day of that week, they were looking into what would happen with what was then called Palestine.
Thomas Sandel, founder of the European Coalition for Israel, tells CBN News that in April 1920, the fate of the Jewish nation weighed in the balance.
It was a bit of a wrestling match with the British, with the French, as to would the Balfour Declaration get acceptance by the international community, be incorporated into international law.
The British prevailed, and the Balfour Declaration, nearly word for word, would become part of the San Remo Resolution. The 1917 document stated, His Majesty's government views with favor the establishment of a Jewish state in the land called Palestine.
The people that had a clear connection to the land of Israel were recognized under international law. The Balfour Declaration, which said that the Jewish people should have a national home in Eretz Israel.
After nearly 2,000 years, the Jewish people had a homeland recognized under international law. One English diplomat, Lord Curzon, called the resolution Israel's Magna Carta. Zionist leader Chaim Weizmann considered it so important, he declared the modern state of Israel was born on the 25th of April, 1920, in San Remo.
I always say that this was like this one moment in world history when heaven and earth were completely aligned, because the key players at that time, and there'd never been a situation like that before or after, where you had people who really had a deep love for the Jewish people, who were biblical, very literate, at the place of power. David Lloyd George said that the most important thing he accomplished was really what he did in San Remo, to pave the way for the recreation, the rebirth of a Jewish state. He and Lord Balfour, they were adamant that we cannot miss this opportunity.
2 years later, the 51 members of the League of Nations ratified the San Remo Resolution. It gave the Jews exclusive legal and political rights in Palestine, while the rest of the Middle East went to the Arabs.
The international legal foundation for the Middle East was laid here, and it was never changed. And so unless it's specifically totally changed and overturned by the United Nations, which it has not been, they actually did recognize the modern nation state of Israel, then it means Israel has a legal right to be there and to be a Jewish homeland.
Rick Ridings, founder of the prayer ministry Sukkot Hallel, says more Christian leaders need to know the story.
Of course, they have the right biblically to be in their homeland that God promised to them. But in the political realm, you need to come back to the legal bases. That's why it's important that Christians, leaders who understand God's heart and purposes for Israel, become aware of these legal, international legal issues.
After October 7, 2023, a global chorus accused Israel of being illegitimate. Sandel believes that's why the story of San Remo is more important than ever, when Israel's adversaries raise questions about its right to exist by rewriting history.
Because it comes back to the narrative that we hear on our elite universities of the Jewish state just being expression of colonialism, where the opposite is true. And I think it's not a difficult story to tell. You have all the historical verification to explain that. And we need to become better at retelling the miracle of Israel.
A story forgotten, but a story that needs to be told again and again. It's why Sandel believes the Villa Devachan should become a destination for leaders and policymakers.
So this is a place that is so significant for Jewish history. Most people, Christians, Jews, and others, they don't know it. And I think this is a beautiful story to be retold, the city where history was rewritten. And I think, looking at the future, I would like to see similar meetings taking place here.
The San Remo resolution was a turning point in history, a legal foundation for the rebirth of Israel after nearly 2,000 years. It wasn't just politics in action, but prophecy unfolding. And it's the desire of many that this truth would resonate around the world. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, San Remo, Italy.
There's a bit of history you may not have known, but the legal right for the modern state of Israel was literally put together in that conference all the way back in 1920. People focus in on the UN resolution of 1948, but the roots go even deeper to the League of Nations. It reversed something that the Roman Empire had done under Emperor Hadrian, who built a famous wall to keep my ancestors out of England. He also didn't like the Jews, and there was a revolt about AD 130. And so he came in with force and did some horrible things. Number one, he plowed the Temple Mount to make sure the temple could never be rebuilt. Then he erased all the genealogies. He destroyed all of them. And that's a tragedy that is ongoing for the Jewish people, as to who's part of the Levites, who's part of the tribe of Judah, what tribe do you belong to? All of that was erased. But he couldn't erase the Jewish population that continued to live. He renamed it, Hadrian renamed it Syria Palestina, and he did it with intent to sort of resurrect the ancient foe of Israel, the Philistines. He knew all of that when he did it, but here in San Remo, the world got together and said, no, we need to establish a Jewish homeland again in the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the land that was promised to them. And Chaim Weizmann was owed a great debt by the British Empire. He was a chemist working in Manchester University. He developed a technique to make acetone, which was key to all of the shells that were fired by the British Army in World War I. They owed him a great debt, and they asked him, what did he want? And he said, well, I want a Jewish homeland. And that led to the Balfour Declaration, that led to San Remo, and led to Chaim Weizmann becoming the first president of the modern state of Israel. This is very important history in light of everything we're seeing today, because Hamas is once again resurrecting what Hadrian tried to do. He tried to wipe the Jews off the map. He tried to exterminate them and exterminate the very memory of them. That's what Hamas is trying to do. That's what Iran is trying to do. That's what Hezbollah was trying to do. In our time, we need to stand with Israel. We vowed never again. Let's mean it. And let's hold on to the prospect of peace. But in that, this ideology of hatred has to be defeated.